These were canceled.
Oh, hold on, I've got to make sure. I've got to make sure I can see the meeting notice because last time I looked like an idiot.
Well, I would have. But now it's canceled. So we don't know what we're doing.
Call this special meeting of the Southwest Licking Board of Education to order. It is 5:30 on November the 18th. We are in the Board of Education meeting room. Read the meeting notice. Notice is hereby given that the special meeting of the Southwest Licking Local Board of Education, Licking County, Ohio, on Monday, November 18th, 2019, 5:30 p.m. in the SWL meeting room, 927B South Street, Pataskala, Ohio, for the purpose of discussion action regarding placing a levy on the ballot for the March 17, 2020 primary election and an executive session for the purpose of employment or compensation of a public employer. I'd like to recognize both our visitors here and online, and if you'll please join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Jones, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Moore.
Here.
Mrs. Spindler.
Here.
Mr. Vincent.
Here.
Mr. Ziny.
Here.
Mrs. Engel.
Here, we have a quorum. We could continue. We need a motion for adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Mr. Jones?
Mr. Vincent.
Yes.
Mrs. Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler.
Yes.
Mr. Ziny.
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. Passes. Request to speak on agenda items, Teamsters Local 413, Southwest Licking Education Association. All right, business item. We have a discussion action on placing a levy on the ballot for the March 17, 2020 primary election. Anybody have anything to start with? Mr. Jones?
Just real quick. Obviously, we said before, we have our emergency operating levy is on the ballot. It actually expires December 31st, 2019. Last year's election is calendar year 2020. So obviously, we have to get it approved by the November 2020 election so we don't lose a year of elections. Basically, we did win in Licking County for our substitute levy. We just failed in Fairfield County by, I think, 102. So total, we think we lost was like 95 votes. So our district office administration recommendation is to stay with the substitute levy. We feel the levy was not the issue. I think it was more voter turnout, a little bit, maybe some complacency. We do a little bit better, a little bit more different way of communicating than we did this time, hopefully. And then it also will be a primary election, so there's a possibility that there'll be a larger turnout anyway. So this year we have, March will be primary, and then we have presidential definitely in November. So I would think definitely either one of those two. So our recommendation, and Bob can speak for himself too, is to stay with the substitute $4.525 million for a continuing period of time. Okay. It's up to you. Obviously, the other option would be go to the just straight renewal of the emergency operating levy. It currently is $4.525 for 5 years. So it's you as a board decide which option you like to go with. But our recommendation is a substitute.
And I would concur with Mr. Jones's statement that I think there is a little bit of a shy number of voters that turned out. I think an emphasis on getting the more supportive vote out would be good. Obviously, it comes from getting out what the substitute levy actually is about. And I think there's a little bit of confusion, but a lot more clarity than we had the first time back in 2014. I really believe if we continue to get the message out that we can capture new funding without increasing the rates of the existing taxpayers, it's a benefit for the school, especially being a top district. I think that may need to be expanded a little bit too, but I would strongly recommend with support of Mr. Jones's recommendation.
Okay. So this would be identical to what we just did, correct?
Yeah, so what's the resolution in there for you, if you've passed is the exact same language we did last time. The only difference change was the election date.
Okay.
Can I make a motion to
move forward and approve the resolution as is for the first reading tonight.
Sure can.
Okay, then I move that. Do you have a second?
I'll second.
Any more discussion?
That is continuing.
It is continuing levy, yes. Exactly the same thing we had on the ballot we did last time. It's actually the same resolution, I just changed date.
Okay.
What this would do, if we pass it here, I'd certify the county auditor, get the millage rate, and then the second resolution would be on the Thursday night's regular board meeting to get on the ballot before the December 18th deadline.
Okay.
I think one of the questions that I actually got after the election, which I wish people would ask me before the election, was, well, are you going to need another operating levy for the new schools? And I think that we need to reiterate that this is the operating levy for the existing schools and the new schools. This is our operating funds, period. This is it. This is what we need for all of the schools.
And part of the bond issue we put out there is that we wouldn't ask for new money when we open these buildings
Right.
up. And that's what you as a board has done, is
Yeah.
we're not asking for more money, but we are still opening 2 brand new buildings.
Right.
Correct.
So we're standing by what
But I
we
think
said.
it'd be important to emphasize that, because
Exactly.
I don't remember ever really reading about that very thing. And I'm sure that's in the back of people's minds, that, boy, they're building 2 new schools, we're gonna have to
Right.
Right.
give up more later, but,
Exactly.
yeah,
That's-
it's, anyway.
Okay. Any further discussion?
You know, I encourage the homestead and rollback discussion too. That's another $500,000 or thereabouts that would have to be picked up
Absolutely.
locally if it
let
expires.
it
So there's a
expire.
lot of positive discussion that we could move more of the voters, hopefully to the precincts and support the issue.
Correct.
All right.
You ready? Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes,
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. That passes. All right, we need a motion to adjourn into executive session for the purpose of employment or compensation of a public employee.
So moved.
Second. All right, Mr. Jones?
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. We are in executive session at 5:38.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm excited.
We are back from executive session at 7:55. Mr. Jones, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Moore,
Here.
Mrs. Spindler,
Here.
Mr. Vincent,
Here.
Mr. Zani,
Here.
Mrs. Engel.
Here. We have a quorum. We can continue. We have last item, number 5A, adjournment. We need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Jones? Thank you.
Mr. Vincent,
Yes.
Mrs. Spindler,
Yes.
Mrs. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Zani,
Yes.
Mrs. Engel.
Yes. We are adjourned at 7:56.
I say through the